Welcome back to another episode of the A Team at New Beginnings Farmstead. We have everyone here. Hi, everybody.
Hello.
Hey.
And so, what has everyone been up to? I know, Ryan, you went away recently.
Yeah, I actually just got back from a week in West Virginia. We go down to the Hatfield and McCoy Trail System and spent a week riding and seeing the countryside.
Riding horses?
Riding four-wheelers, ATVs, UTVs, side-by-sides. So it's a great time. You get an opportunity to get out and explore and see things that you wouldn't normally see just driving on the highway. And West Virginia is absolutely magnificent. The views and the people, and it's unbelievable. I can't even explain it in words of what it's like. It's.
And this will be a very boring podcast.
Well, yes, agreed.
You could try using your hands.
Yeah. It's a different way of life.
Like what? Tell us like what? I've never been to West Virginia. I've been down the East Coast, but I've actually never been to what? How about you, Judy? Have you been to West Virginia?
No.
So West Virginia, they had a big timber industry and coal industry, which has changed quite a bit through the years as they work through the mountains mining the coal. And coal is not in quite as high a demand as it used to be for power.
Thankfully.
But there are hundreds of people in every town that relied on that for generations, mining coal.
Relied on it as for their income?
For their income,
jobs?
yeah.
Okay.
That's just about everybody was employed in coal mines or transportation industry, secondary to that. So there's a lot of history there. And obviously the Hatfield and McCoy stories everybody's heard, but the people there are just wonderful, wonderful people. And it's not just because we're essentially tourists there. They're just good people. When they ask you how you are, they generally want to know, being from New York, when someone says, "Hey, how are you?" "Oh, good." And you just keep walking. It's not like that there.
Somebody, they like tell you how they are.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to be very careful of what you ask because you'll get the life story of them and everybody else.
Stop doing that.
Yeah. And she says, "Good," and keeps walking. Yeah. Yeah. You know what that means.
So what's their industry? How do they
now? Well, there's still some coal mining that goes on there, but a lot of it relies on tourism now, especially with the Hatfield and McCoys getting so big. The trail systems are hundreds of miles.
Now, when you say Hatfield and McCoys, are there still people living there that are from those families?
Yes, absolutely. We actually visited the Hatfield Cemetery, so you get to see different, generations of the families there, and
those people are not living anymore.
From the original story.
There's no feud, right? People aren't.
No, actually, if you watch the documentary on it, the families actually crossed in the documentary.
Oh,
and
I didn't know there was a documentary. What's the name of the doc? Is it just
crossed as in a Hatfield and a McCoy?
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Yep.
Interesting.
And which name did they take?
That I'm not sure. But it's such a wonderful place, and I've been down there. I think this was my 6th or 7th time going.
Oh, wow.
So, and every time we get to explore something new because the trails change. If they open up a new mountain to mine coal, then obviously the system changes to work its way around. And
they're still building out their coal mining system.
Yeah, they still mine coal. It's just a lot different today than it used to be.
Is it cleaner?
Julie, are you going to go down and pick it? Is that what's happening now? You're planning?
I'm not going to pick it.
But it's not just about the coal either. It's about obsolete. Where do you think your power comes from?
Solar.
My solar panel is on my roof.
No, okay. What about everywhere else? What do you think powers our grid? Natural gas, coal.
It's a mix. It has a diversified portfolio.
It has a diversified portfolio, yes.
Including water power.
Yeah, and coal is a reliable source of energy.
But is it renewable?
Is it renewable? If you have enough time, yes, absolutely, it is renewable. You got a few thousand years?
All right. Stand corrected, I guess.
Yeah. So it's they do still have coal mines. There's still people that work. They're equipment operators, truck drivers. The rail industry is still big.
People who have black lung.
Coal mining is different today than it used to be. They used to mine in mines underground like you would think of a stereotypical mine. Now they don't do that. They take the top off of a mountain,
Oh,
get down to the strip mining, yes. And then when they're done, they put the mountain back.
That's
It is a thing. It is a thing. We got to ride a reclaimed mine that was closed 3 years ago, and you would have no idea that it was a strip mine. You'd have no idea. The
So when you
trees
say
are
you got to ride it
Yeah.
on top.
yeah, oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah. The trails wind all through the mountains, and you would have no idea that they had mine there. If someone didn't tell you that it was a coal mine, you would have no idea.
So
And
did
you
you?
wouldn't have any idea there was a mountain there either.
No, well, there's still a mountain there. They put it back when they're done. They
Where
take
do
the
they
coal
hold
and put the mountain back.
Where do they hold it in between?
They hold it up, right? They hold it up. and
Yeah,
then
they-
put
yeah,
underneath,
they
and
dig
roll
it,
it
yeah, and
back.
then they
It's
put it
like a
back
cupcake.
Yeah.
You take the top off, eat it, put it back.
Yeah,
So you have like a home base cabin. What do you stay in?
yeah. So we stayed with a friend of ours when we went down the first few years. This year we did an Airbnb, Verbo, whatever it is, type thing. It's a house. It sleeps 8 guys, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, kitchen, living room. That's all you need. A hose to wash yourself off at the end of the day.
Nice.
Wash your machines off. And
When you said you wash yourself off, you meant the machines.
no, there are many times where you need to wash yourself off with a hose before you go back inside.
Interesting.
So interestingly, with West Virginia, most of the years that we went down, it would rain every single night, just a little bit, just to get the ground wet. So it kept the trails wet enough to not be dusty. But this year we went down, it was very, very dusty because it hadn't rained in a little while. But
Did it
it's
kick up coal dust?
it's not
Were
coal
you
dust.
finding
It's like
yourself coughing the entire time?
it's like clay, but it's a powder. I mean, so fine that it runs like water when you
Gets
go through
the-
it.
All the hair,
Oh,
nostril
no.
hair, and just you
Yeah,
kinda-
yeah.
Were
Yeah,
you
Is that
like-
why you shaved?
the black boogers
I was
go
gonna
on
say,
for a
did
few
you
days, but
black? Is the ground is black,
no, most of the ground isn't black. No, it looks like clay.
so it's like a reddish.
Yep. Unless you're
Were
in a
you
cold day.
blowing it out of your nose? Like it
Yeah,
was-
there were times.
Oh,
Yes.
that's not
Well,
good.
you were on
Yeah.
a 4-wheeler,
Yeah, I was on a 4-wheeler.
but if you had a side by side, you'd have a windshield.
No, you
They
still.
get in there.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Can you buy a 4-wheeler that's completely encapsulated?
You could. You could buy one with air conditioning too, but
Ooh, now
That's
we're talking.
nice. That would be- I'm ready for that.
Yeah. what? I don't know. It's part of the experience. I enjoy it. Either way, it's just it's a completely different world. This was the first time in 5 years of my new job, 6 years of my new job. In the last 5 years, the first time I was really able to disconnect because you have cell phone service. You do have wireless at the house. The wireless at the house is good if your device will connect to it. Mine didn't for quite some time.
You have an Android?
Yeah.
No, everybody had the same problem.
Would they all have Androids?
No. And
Not everybody had Android, or the people that had it. I'm just trying to drill down for a friend.
yeah, no. But the cell phone service is actually remarkably good in most areas.
Now
What-
you say
what
that
city
because
were
of
you
the
near?
surprise, because of the mountains, the coal, the magnetic field. Like,
No,
just not
because
expecting
every
that
mountain
infrastructure?
has a tower on it.
oh, okay.
People don't down there. They want their communication,
Oh,
so
wow.
there's a tower on every mountain.
So
So
when they're strip mining, they take off the tower too and they hold
Lift
that
it.
up.
They lift it up.
I think the towers are on mountains that are already mined. But the communication by cell phone, once you're out in the trails, you get to clearings and that, and you have better cell phone service than you do here at your house, which is
So how do
none.
you communicate with the bros that are in front of you?
So a cool new thing that Polaris has, kudos to Polaris, there's a ride command
Wow.
that they have.
This video is not sponsored by Polaris.
We're taking
Yeah,
sponsors.
I guess we are.
Yeah, well,
We are now.
Get back.
so
We'd like to sponsor our next episode.
We love Polaris.
3 of the guys
Continue,
that,
Ryan.
I'm a Honda person.
3 of the So 3 of the guys that were with us, they have a ride command in the
Boy.
machines. So the ride command has a GPS system built into the machine. And when you join the group to ride, they can watch each other on the map as they're going through the trails. Because the days that it were really dusty, we were 1,000, 1,500 feet away from each other because it was so dusty, just so you don't run into each other. You can't see anything.
Oh my gosh.
So you stay back, so they'll let the dust clear as you're going through the trails. You stay back far enough, but they could see each other on the map. So 2 of them were in the front and 1 was in the back. That way, the guy in the front knew if there was a problem in the back, he would stop and let everybody else catch up because he would see the last guy stop on the map.
What kind of
How did
speed
you
are we
know?
talking about?
Speed in the trails, we would travel. We'd average about 20 miles an hour most of the time, unless you get on some of the tighter trails and you slow down a little bit. But you average about 20 miles an hour.
So the fastest would have been to
You-
gain that average.
If you get on some of those open roads, you can do 30, 35, no problem. And then some of the nastier, gnarlier hills in that, you're only doing 5, 10 miles an
What does
hour.
gnarly mean to you?
You take the worst hill that you could imagine that you don't think you're going to go up on any kind of a machine or by foot and take a machine up it.
So you saw snakes. That's what your worst nightmare is.
No.
Did
no,
you
the-
see any snakes?
The hills. We did. We saw what looked to be actually a copperhead that was dead in the trail, and then we saw a very, very, very large black snake, but that had made its way away from us. Quite a bit of wildlife. We, interestingly enough, one of the rides we took up to one of the lookouts, and we all get off the machines, and we hear something coming through the woods, and here was this random goat,
No.
Oh,
What?
that's
random goat,
I don't believe
Huh?
white,
That's crazy.
white.
Oh, this is
goat,
the one you sent the
horns,
picture of.
the one I sent you the picture
Oh,
of. Yeah.
yeah. It
This-
was in all your pictures.
Uh,
You photoshopped.
It was
that
in some of your
picture.
pictures.
It
I don't
looked,
know.
it looked like you photoshopped
I
it.
think
I'm
there's
pretty
a
sure
goat
there's no goats
somewhere.
in that area.
Yeah,
Not
well,
naturally.
there's absolutely that goat in that area. And after we got there, they were talking about it a little bit. That's one of the things that you see when you go to that lookout. This goat will happen to come down and greet you. It was friendly.
Oh, it has a name.
I don't know.
Did you name it?
You didn't name it?
Oh,
I didn't
Oh,
name
you
it.
have to name it.
I'm not going to name
Otherwise,
it
you
if it
gotta
already
eat it.
has a
You know
name.
What happens if you don't name it and eat it?
Well, we didn't eat it.
Okay.
No, we didn't eat it.
Did
But
you eat it?
we saw quite a
Did
few
you track
things.
or hunt any food?
No, no.
Were there any vegetarians on the trip?
I hadn't seen a vegetarian since I left New York.
Hmm.
I didn't see any
You
solar
missed us,
panels or
don't you?
charging stations either.
I was gonna say, there's no is there such thing as an electric 4x4?
They do make electric
Does
machines.
Polaris make it?
I don't know. Somebody had mentioned it because we heard one go by us,
What
but
about
How could you hear it?
Right.
It doesn't-
How do you-
yeah, it
how
had
do
a
you
speaker
hear
that made noise, vroom vroom, as it went by.
When it backed up?
But no, the electric infrastructure down there for electric vehicles and charging. When we left New York, we didn't really see chargers anywhere. Truck stops.
Were you disgusted by that?
No, not disgusted. Just surprised that here they're absolutely everywhere, and down there there's none. We didn't even see an electric vehicle anywhere. Nowhere.
They can't make it that far.
True, and yeah, no, that's true.
And you would know.
And I would know.
You doubled the time it took you to get from New York to Cape Cod. Oh my gosh.
What was that? 3 days to go to Cape Town?
Hey, we went up to Bolton Landing the other day, and we got there and back with no charging.
See?
Oh wow.
Huh.
Well, they walked halfway.
No, we did not.
Where's
Oh.
Bolton Landing?
It's just north of Lake George.
Oh, that's kind
See?
of far.
Yes, that's kind of far, but it was
Yeah.
summer, no air conditioning, no heat.
Oh, okay.
No air conditioning, no heat, no radio,
I didn't say
no
no
windshield
radio.
wipers.
Singing.
I didn't say any of those things.
It's a trip. You sing. Don't you sing?
Right, but if it was raining and you had the windshield wipers on, you would have had to stop and charge.
My windshield wiper is broken, so I would be doing this out the window with my arm.
Only if
Your
you
front
were
is
driving.
now broken too?
No, no.
Okay.
Yeah, only if you were driving in reverse.
That's true.
Yeah. No, so none of that at all. But Bolton Landing, no charge. Wow, that's quite the milestone.
I think so. I mean, we were pretty proud of
We're
it.
making
It was
progress.
close. It was close. Yeah.
Someday, our kids will look back and go, imagine they used to put gasoline in engines.
they'd have
You
to
know,
stop.
we were thinking when we were driving, we were like, we can now say there used to be toll booths here.
Yep.
Yeah,
See?
that's true.
Yeah.
Very true. Then people
There
out
was
there
a
breathing in
person.
those
There
fumes,
was a person who
taking
would
your
hand
little
them a
card,
ticket. Yep.
and then you'd
The
hand them the
person
money
hands you a ticket, and then they would take the ticket
and
look
take
at
your
it,
$1.25
Yeah.
to get off the throughway.
But unfortunately, where are those people now?
They're
Very
behind the
sad.
machines that are making the food.
I don't think that's true.
Where are they?
Laid off?
Somewhere else,
Yeah.
because they're not toll collectors anymore.
What about the people that used to do all the coal mining? If it's been reduced, where are they?
Some are still there. Some have moved on.
There you go. That's
Some
it.
follow the
everything
coal.
else.
The economy changes.
That's it.
Gotta follow it.
Things change.
Yeah, that's true.
Speaking of people who like to talk, like you were talking about West Virginia, how everyone just wants to chat and it's
Mhm.
different than we're here. So we're going up to Lake George and we stopped at the Glens Falls rest area.
To charge.
No, not to church.
To rest.
To rest.
Okay.
And I wanted to get a little snack. And that's one of the ones that has the I Love New York, like they have
Oh,
those
the,
vending
yeah.
machines, right? And so my husband's sitting down, reading a texting while I'm looking at these vending machines because there's all these different things. One has like all maple products.
Right. They have
and
like really
all these
cool
little
ones,
things,
right?
So I wanted something that was protein, not too much sugar, not too much carbs. I
Chicken.
eat nuts. I wanted some kind of nuts, right?
Okay.
Chicken. They didn't have any. No chicken. So
Eggs.
I am looking around. I get these. They had these maple whiskey nuts, which were very sugary, but at least they were nuts. So I sit down, and immediately this man, and so there's like a little fireplace, and there's these Adirondack chairs in this rest area.
Why did it have to be a man?
It was a man. So this man walks
A
over.
fireplace and Adirondack chairs. No wonder it costs so much to drive on the thruway.
It's true. So this man
But it's
sits down
welcome.
right next to me, and there's like 8
And you get
chairs,
Chick-fil-A.
and
Oh, he sits down
right?
next to you. Awkward.
And he started talking, and we talked for like 15 minutes. And he said, "Oh, where are you heading? What are you doing up in the Adirondacks?
So he's a
How
stalker.
often do
He's
you
waiting
go
for you in
there?"
our parking lot.
And then we got talking about Old Forge and how we should go to the water park, and next to that is an RV place, and how his girlfriend. Well, she's not really my girlfriend. Well, we
Oh,
haven't
boy.
made it official yet.
Oh boy.
What's he
You
waiting
said he
for?
was an
Did you
older
find out?
man.
He
Did you find out?
followed. He
I thought
followed
you
you
said
home,
older
Julie,
man.
didn't he?
Did you find out why he's not ready for that level of commitment? I would have asked. Why not?
Well, if he's listening, maybe you can let us know
Yeah,
why
so
you
once
are
you
not
join us,
ready.
Or
And so the
dine
bottom
in.
line is, I think this dude was a security guard there. He
Oh.
said,
Wow.
"I've worked here for about a month." I said, "Oh, this is my favorite rest area because I love this rest area because they play spa music when you walk in. The next time you walk in there,
Wow.
it's like a spa.
Nice.
They also have a zip line playground, which Margaret
What?
and Jeff and I.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah.
Matthew and Steve.
At a rest stop?
Yes, keep up.
I love New
Glens
York.
Falls. I love New York. So he said, "I don't really love this one because there's no hot food here."
So he doesn't love this one. Does that mean that he travels and works at various ones? Did you ask him that?
Yeah, he could have been a maintenance person. They travel.
They go
To
to
multiple
different
rest
ones.
areas.
Yeah, a black shirt and a security patch on the side.
Okay, I have one of them
So
too.
clearly they must have problems there.
Well,
Ah,
I feel protected.
yeah, those. Yeah,
What does that mean?
$20 is $20.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't know
Yeah.
what that means.
Either way, the security man was very friendly and un-New York-like. But I feel like the North Country is different
Yes.
than where we are.
Yeah.
What?
The North
Why?
Country.
Why?
People are definitely more friendly.
People are more friendly
Then
than here in the Hudson Valley and further south.
where's the line?
Ooh, Albany.
There. Wait a minute.
Where-
People in Glenfall are friendlier than I am? What are you talking about?
But
Would you sit down in a rest
genuinely
area and
friendly
start
or
talking?
really or
Right.
or fake friendly?
I'm hurt. I'm about to walk out. I'm hurt.
All right.
I
Why are you
fake
saying
my
ooh,
friendliness every
Albany?
day.
Because
know
I,
you
don't,
do.
I don't think Albany would be the line for the North Country. It's
Okay,
well
north of
above Albany.
i.e. Saratoga and above.
Okay, it's Saratoga and Albany are not close together.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Break out a map.
They're as close as Albany is to us.
Right.
Saratoga.
No,
Right.
that's further.
Saratoga's further?
We are further from Albany than Saratoga is from Albany.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, it doesn't take much.
But I'm saying north of Albany is the North Country, in my opinion.
Nah, it's further.
So what do you
north than
think
that.
why
What
do
do
you
you
think
think
the
it is?
reason is? Do you think because it's less congestion? Because as you go north, things are more
It's just
spread out.
slower.
Life in general is slower.
Life is
Explain
generally
that.
So population, the level of population, congested population, impacts niceness.
In some respects, I think.
So somebody living in
slower. Atlanta. What about Atlanta?
Kerhonkson, Atlanta. That's outside of New York, isn't it?
But we're talking about the South being nicer.
Okay.
So are
okay.
people in Atlanta nicer? That's
It's a
a,
city.
populated area in the
It's a
South.
city. I bet the people that live down there in Georgia would say, outside of Atlanta,
Outside of Atlanta, because it's an urban versus a rural thing.
mhm.
Yeah, but I don't
and I
think.
think that the level of stress and constant motion, if you will, in an urban environment causes people to act differently.
Congestion.
It's the
When you're
heat
too
island effect.
congested.
People are hot.
Right, but what if you work in a congested area but live in a rural area,
Like you do.
like I
Yeah.
do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. I in my experiences, every place I've been in the South, people are friendlier.
I agree with you. I have
They are
driven.
more courteous.
Yep. I
They
have been to Texas and back many
But have you
times, and
been
they are
in
very.
populated environments?
Absolutely.
Atlanta,
Absolutely.
Atlanta.
Okay,
Or Dallas.
Like Atlanta.
Dallas,
So-
Texas
Nice
is
in
very
Atlanta.
populated. People are still very nice
in Dallas.
in Dallas. Yeah.
So
I think New Yorkers are just rude in general, and I think there's a lot of people that would agree.
I think what you're saying is rude.
Agreed, I'm not rude.
But I think that, so if we're making generalizations, people, when they hear New York, like we live in upstate New York, they think we live in
Absolutely.
New York City.
Yeah,
Yes,
you were
that
embarrassed
happens.
to be from New York.
No, we're not
Whoa.
embarrassed to be from New York. Not at all. Born and raised here. But when you go places and you tell
Proud
people
New
that you're
Yorker.
from New York, the first year we went to West Virginia, they knew we were coming from New York, and they already had a picture in their head of what we would be.
And what was that? Antenna, tails?
Well, they had some bad
Rude.
experiences for
Yeah.
people from New York City and the surrounding
Leaving
area.
trash
Right.
and-
So,
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
saying, when you were in West Virginia, you weren't embarrassed to be from New York. You were proud
No.
to stand up and say, I'm from New York and I'm proud of it.
Yes, but we're also different. Like you said, you're from New York and you're not rude. Neither are we. So we had to explain to them that we're not from New York City. When you tell someone you're from New York, they think you're from New
Right,
York
they
City.
think you're from New York City.
We're 2 hours north of New York City. It's a long ways. 100 miles is a long ways from a very congested New York City.
But to have to lead with an excuse. Yes, I'm from New York, but listen to my whole story.
If-
I'm not that kind of New York.
Yeah, but that's what New York is. The city is its own entity. It should be its own state. New York City should be on its own. The rest
I
of
think
us,
we should take a break and come back. That's an issue.
All right.
because we are very different.
It's true.
No, that's true. I agree.
What
It is
ca-
true.
what my question was originally is, what causes that difference?
Well, what do you think causes it?
I think just the stressors, the traffic, the people, the congestion
Mhm.
in and of itself causes things to happen. You get to the crosswalk, someone's trying to cross, there's a bike in your lane, the lights of the streets, and just, you said it yourself, you lived in Kingston all those years. You come up to Olive, you walked outside at night and went, oh my God, look at all these stars.
Yeah, but that had nothing to do with whether I'm rude or not.
I understand, but think about how peaceful it is when you leave that environment. You don't
Right.
hear the traffic, you don't hear the sirens.
Absolutely.
There's no train, nothing like that, right? You can barely, and we're, miles outside the city, but up where we used to live up there's nothing. I told you that main road, if we had traffic, it was like, there weren't even lines on that road
Yeah.
until 1990.
There were no lines on that road first time I went up there. For
Well,
years, there
you
were no
bet
lines.
Town roads. Yeah, but I'm saying like there's factors I think that change things. Let's face it. I mean, just the fact that our cell phones, right?
Mhm.
The cell phones alone. Is that my cell phone going on?
No,
No. What's that noise?
it's my fault.
Oh, it's yours. Okay. See, the fact that cell phone's going off right now and you can't answer it causes a level of stress. I bet if you had an iWatch on,
Check this out.
what?
I'm not wearing it.
Wow.
I'm taking time without it.
Good for you.
It's not going
I keep
very
my
well.
on.
I was going to say, why? Why would you do that?
I
Why would you
keep-
take that off?
I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe it's us.
And what are you trying to test?
Do you look at it? Do you
I'm
catch
saying
yourself?
to myself, so I was not an immediate Apple Watch adopter.
Mhm.
The rest of my family was. I was an Apple iPhone adopter early on. And so 2 years ago, I think at Christmas time, I got a watch. And being a type A personality, it was like, perfect. I can count how many steps I'm doing. You can tell me my heartbeat at any time. I can know what time it is at any time. If somebody's calling, I can get a phone immediately. I can talk to them. I can text and get it immediately. They can give me reminders. And I created anxiety for
Yeah, it
myself.
creates stress. Yep.
It created
Yeah.
more stress.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing: when you wear an Apple Watch for 2 years and then don't,
Mhm. Stress.
it's the number of times that I did this
Yeah.
today and looked
Habitual.
at my
Yeah.
wrist.
Yeah. If I don't have it on, which I noticed Saturday morning, I had to get my son to crew at 4:30 in the morning down at the Maritime Museum, and I didn't put this on when I was out of the bedroom at 3:30, and the whole morning I was like, I'm naked.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm naked. And until I put it on, I was like, oh, okay, I'm okay.
You can, those of you that are far away can't see, but it is
Yeah, you're burned
it's
there.
burned on the. It was
Mhm.
it was a tan line. Now it's burned because I had it off yesterday in the sun. And I told myself, all right, this is it. I'm going to go without it. And I told a couple people, this is it. But this is my first work day without
Mhm.
my watch,
Ugh.
and I don't know.
When my battery dies and it's not like time for bed, it's hard to deal with not having
Well,
it.
because now I've missed a couple texts and a couple phone calls, which I obviously had done before, before I had the watch. But I don't
Well, right now his phone went off. And if it was the work phone, that right now there is chaos occurring at some level. At his job. And he's just kind of antsy. He's thinking about it. A text message probably followed a phone call going, you got to call us right away. We don't know what to do. Where's the water shut off? Streets are caving in.
Yes.
Dogs and cats are being
Yes.
swallowed into the hole right now.
All that's true.
And yeah,
All that is
there
true.
is a level. Yeah, it's correct. So I think a lot of it is self-induced,
Self-induced.
right? And
Mhm.
It's
we,
100% self-induced.
yeah, and we have come. Well, I think part of it's the job, right? We all have jobs that require, to some level, the response, immediate response, right? When they call on the weekend and it's somebody that's in your office, you go, uh-oh. What's the first thing you think of? Death.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If someone from my office calls, that means that
Somebody died.
somebody,
you have to do something.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So clearly that's it. And when you put your phone on silent or vibrate and it's in your pocket and it goes off, you're thinking,
Yeah.
what could that be? And right now you're itching to do it, but you
burning
were
a
thinking
hole.
it's right now. He can't wait for the next break, which might be coming up. How much?
Yeah, I bet.
How long have we been recording this for? We can't even see that. Can we?
Probably plenty.
35 minutes. It says on the thing, but we had some pre stuff. But yeah, so I think a lot of that stress, like the watch, right? After a while, but when you said something that actually kind of caught me was you were the first time in 5 years. You were
First
able
time
to
in 5 years.
disconnect.
Because you don't have a choice. It forces you to disconnect. And if something doesn't force you to do it, you're not going to.
So one of the things you can try to do to allow yourself to be disconnected is to have staff, if available, that can handle any problem when you're not there.
Correct.
That you should not have the position you do where you alone have to make a decision in order to move forward. You have to get your staff, surround yourself with staff that is of the level of competency, even if it's compartmentalized, siloed, or individual, to be able to say, this is what's going on. I need to rely on you to make the decision when I'm not there.
Okay.
And
Do
make-
you have
That is
that?
correct.
You're saying this, but you don't have it.
I don't have it because of some changes that have occurred, but I can count
You
on-
haven't had it for over a year.
but I'm working on producing it, right? So
Right.
I'm not there yet, not to the level I would feel comfortable with, right? But clearly, the old expression my parents used to use is "die a pope, make a pope." And when the pope dies, the Catholic Church doesn't stop praying; it makes another pope, right? And the same thing with, on a smaller scale, what we experienced here. When the queen dies, the hive continues because they create a new queen, right? They use that royal jelly, so part of it is you can control some of that. You can train your staff, right? And I'm not saying every situation, but if all of a sudden you get back to a cell phone area at night, like you said, the Wi-Fi, and your phone is just, and there's a bunch of what should we do, what should we do, what should we do, then my personal belief is, my professional belief is, you have failed in producing somebody down there or people that can cover you when you're gone. And
That's
it takes
correct.
a while to get there. One, there's the trust issue, right? Even if I invest in you in training and professional development, at a certain point, you have to trust the person to make the right decisions. And how you do that is you work side by side closely together with them and you say, I'm thinking of a fruit. And they go, strawberry. And you go, that's right, strawberry. But if you go, I'm thinking of a fruit and you're thinking strawberry and they say,
Banana.
kiwi. You go, today's not a kiwi day, right? So you have to work on training them, right? So, and I'm not, those are the things, and I experienced that on a couple of different levels at my current job. And, part of it is you have to get them to that point. And it's an investment in personnel, and because otherwise you are a slave to that level of technology, especially because we are all fighting it at such a current, and we talked about it the other day. We went to Kingston for something, and there was a gentleman on the phone who was speaking to someone that I can only assume was long distance. It could, maybe it wasn't, but that's the first impression I got. It was a different language. And I said to her, right now, to Elisa, you could pick up the phone, call your friend in Colorado, and have a real-time conversation with no lag, thousands of miles of distance between you. And you pick it up, it rings 3 times, she picks up and goes, hey girl, what's up? And now you have a real-time conversation with not a, hey, how you been? Things are going great. And it's instant, right? The fact that you can FaceTime. So the problem I think that we all get is that that level of responsiveness is a detriment in some cases.
Agreed.
So that's stress. I've tried without the watch. I didn't have a watch for a long time. As some of you know, I was an Android user from the ground up, the original Droid phones, but unfortunately, I've now switched over to iPhone because
Unfortunately,
was-
Why unfortunate?
yeah. why
and here's the reason why, because I had to give in. I had
No,
to
you
give
didn't.
in to the
Because you wanted
stubbornness
to
No,
be
you
part
didn't.
of group texts?
because
You
I was
wanted
the
to
only
receive
one
the
with
pictures.
I was the only one not getting everything, and if you had, so anyway, and now looking back, I've completely entered the iPhone world, the iPad, all that stuff, and but it was stubbornness.
Don't look at me. I'm perfectly happy with my Android.
Uh-huh.
Perfectly happy.
You might be perfectly happy, but those of us who have to communicate with you are not.
I have no problem with communication whatsoever. None. I get all the pictures. I get all the
Who hasn't
texts
been responded to that already texted you.
because I'm
Yeah, but
clearly
I
in
know
the
that
middle
there
of
have been
something.
times I'm trying to send a picture and it's because of your Android that it won't go through. And he'll say to me, "It's the Android."
It's Android. I was there. I was in the receiving
In
end.
our group, and I was like, "Why won't this go?" It's Ryan.
And believe me, I mean, I'm at that point where if I get a call and I'm off, or I'm in the middle of doing something that's just me, I go, that's the because I know it's coming. Just like you right now, I am thoroughly impressed that you have not reached in your
Yeah,
phone.
he's
to
not even
find out
twitching.
what the emergency is, because right now something's burning to the ground.
Yeah, that's
And
possible.
they are asking you, where's the key to the truck? Because that truck contains the equipment and you're the only one to have it.
Well, that's not entirely true. But they do trust me, and that's why they call me. And there are very few people who do what I do.
My saying used to be, if I got to be there, I don't need you there.
Yeah, I can't say that.
You got to work on your personnel. Start investing.
I have been working on my personnel for 5 years, but good personnel are hard to find, and employee development, staff development come and go. You can invest a lot of time in somebody and trust them with everything and know that your phone's not going to ring because they're going to take care of it, and they move on. And now you're back
Thank
at
you.
square one.
And I was there firsthand, and I understand completely. And part of it is you don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? Type of thing. However, if you want work done, then the old saying is, if you want something done, give it to the busy person.
Right.
That's it. But you got to push the staff. That's it.
Right.
And I think that is it for this episode.
We were just getting going.
Yeah, I'm afraid we were. So we hope you join us again, and we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
You can edit all this out, right?